And we are back from the World Cyber Games in Xi'an, China. 1v1 opening set in the books, going to higher, on our way to 2v2. And you have, of course, the squad from GameWith had a good showing, a good outing the other day. And here they are up against Solomon and Nuamaisi.
Yeah, you have Yakitori and Yuihiro coming out, who are 18 and 16 from Yuihiro in games in 2v2. On the other side of that, Yakitori only 18 and 16 at a 50% win rate, essentially 51% if you will. And then on the other side of it, you got Solomon at 63% or 53% and Nuamaisi at 57%. So these guys are pretty evenly matched. We're just going to be seeing out how these matchups come out, who's going to come out on top in the sense of, I believe, matchup here in 2v2.
Yeah, interesting set of bands. GameWith going with the same band they used in their first match. Lumberjack again. This time it's NATO for Solomon and Nuamaisi. And we saw Yakitori and Yuihiro play, Yuihiro playing Graveyard a lot in their match against Liquid. This time opening up with Lava, and the same for their Chinese counterparts.
Yeah, they were able to take one game off of Team Liquid against Canario and Surgical Goblin with the Graveyard Freeze Dark Prince deck, which they're not running right now as you see that Lava Hound coming down early. But a lot to deal with for EDGM at this moment.
Yeah, that's a ton of red troops on the board, and Baby Dragon, with a little bit of support here, might be able to make it a tower. A very nice snowball out from EDGM. So still down to 1945 on the right-hand side.
Yeah, taking about 600 damage there, and they're actually still behind in Elixir. So, as you said, a great snowball to keep the tower alive, but needing to bounce back.
And again, lobbing up, same lane one more time. First minute down, no damage yet on the side of GameWith. Opening salvo done on the opposite end of the board.
Both teams here running the double lava. You see the lightning coming down to basically take care of the mini P.E.K.K.A.
I kind of wonder, Andrew, is someone going to sneak a balloon in there at some point with the NATO ban?
That's a very, very good point. And after seeing how successful Ponos has been time and time again throughout the WCG, but right now they do not need one from GameWith. Yakitori Yuihiro taking that tower with ease, and look at the defense they played at the top of your screen, only taking 90 damage, Rich.
So, minute left. It's going to be very difficult now for Solomon and Nuamaisi to come back in. They just go left-hand lane. And again, Lava up for GameWith in response. Goblin Cage down. Inferno Tower for EDGM.
Yeah,
against the Goblin Cage of their Japanese opponents.
Second Lava Hound comes down. Looking like EDGM is going the best defense right now is offense for us, and that's paid off throughout the entire game for their opponents.
Just too much, too easy for GameWith to defend in the situation. That should be it, barring a miracle or Yakitori, Yuihiro both falling asleep for some strange reason. This is going to be game number one in the books for GameWith.
Yeah, a very dominant showing, and you saw, we talked about it many times, it's about the Lava Hound and how you orchestrate these pushes, and Yakitori and Yuihiro did such great work and defended very conservatively throughout this entire game. So an easy victory goes to EDGM once again.
Goes to GameWith.
GameWith
this time around.
So now we're tied up at 2-2.
2-2, one set in the books for EDGM, and 2 games in hand for both squads. So we'll see what GameWith comes out with next. Of course, they got the Lava Hound, the Lumberjack off the board, wondering if they might again with this NATO ban. You know, you kind of think of them possibly going Graveyard, but now there are so many responses still available.
I mean, I like the idea of Lumberjack being off the field and NATO being off the field. So what do? Maybe Lava Loon with Rage? We saw it used quite a bit in CRL Asia and China. Very, very effective. And again, talk about Ponos in both of their 2v2 matches so far, using Lava Loon at least once to great success.
A lot of options now as well for playing Royal Giant, even though NATO not on the board to play the Royal Giant Skeleton. We did see that play to some effect without that NATO in there as well. So we'll see if someone chooses to come out of the sky and down to the ground. Remember, there is no flood at the moment. That was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. You can play some ground troops. We'll see if that happens in game number 2.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You got the Giant Skeleton, Royal Giant pushes coming in. You've got Lightning in hand. NATO's off the board, so you don't have a way to pull that Giant Skeleton away if it does break through. And with Lightning, you get to take out that Inferno Tower very, very quickly, or maybe the Goblin Cage comes down in replacement, but maybe, just maybe, we'll see Royal Giant, Giant Skeleton. I really think it'll pay off well here.
And a lack of Lumberjack does help that Royal Giant some, not just from the direct damage by the Lumberjack, but also not having that specific rage for the defense once it does drop. Of course, we've talked about it a lot, the rage being mixed in here a bit more in the east than it is in the west, but again, Lumberjack being out does open up that possibility.
And that's the idea usually is you go Lumberjack, Giant Skelly, Royal Giant, all of a sudden you've got a massive push coming in for your opponent to deal with everything raged up. The last thing you want is a raged up Giant Skeleton tanking for your Royal Giant, and boom, gets on the tower. We've seen it happen many times before at CRL West. We haven't seen it quite happen here. I think we saw it once yesterday against Immortals where a Giant Skeleton bomb went off on the tower, but we'll see right now what they come out with.
Heading into game number 2, Yaki and Yui have played a lot together, both the 18 and 16 because they were a 2v2 duo over the season. Solomon, or Solo Man, and Nuomaisi don't have the same level of experience as a pair as the GameWith pair.
Look at those clean sweaters. That looks, I want one of those.
I just can't wear white, man. I'm too messy of an eater.
I also can't wear a sweater in China. I am sweating all day long. Might be too much information to you at home. I apologize.
And here you go. Graveyard once again for GameWith. So going back to their favorite construction, will we see a freeze get mixed in there at some point?
And you see right now that very, very easy and conservative defense coming down. That is a +2 trade with the Inferno Tower going against the Lava Hound, and a lot of damage coming in for EDGM.
Although Lightning is in play, you gotta expect at least one probably in the deck of EDGM.
And there's the Loon that we talked about, Rich. How are they going to deal with it? Snowball is out of sight. Freeze!
Big defensive freeze. Baby Dragon trying to take that balloon off the board. Does not do it. Balloon almost gets there. Very, very nice late snowball by GameWith.
Taking out the lava pumps, defending against that balloon from going too crazy on their tower, and we are basically even here as we get into the first minute and a half of gameplay.
That defensive freeze was so critical, and it's sometimes hard to pull the trigger on a defensive freeze, Andrew.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the times you want to surprise your opponent with it on offense, although when you do run Graveyard in 2v2, you can almost always expect it. So now we're going to see exactly how Solomon and Nuomaisi deal with this push. The Giant Skeleton obviously walking slowly towards that tower, but getting very, very close. Too close for comfort. That is going to do it. Right there, tower down with ease.
And just not able to keep the Giant Skeleton away. And honestly, Andrew, I don't know if even keeping the Giant Skeleton off tower would have been enough with that push.
No, I don't believe so. The Giant Skeleton got to tower and didn't even have to go down. The bomb was not there, so a lot of pressure coming in here. Once again, best defense is some offense. Tower damage in, and again, a high Inferno Tower coming down, Rich.
E-Wiz, Lumber, but oh, here we go. Defensive freeze one more time. And now letting that Inferno Tower do its job, although this balloon still could sneak through, not quite gonna do it.
Very nice bar barrel there to pull the Dark Prince away, and now all of a sudden you've just got a Lava Miner push coming in. But this, no, Miner goes down, not gonna be enough. You're gonna have to spell it out.
And they do, but they're spending a lot to get this one finished.
And the last thing you want to do is use your defense offensively to take a tower in the last seconds when you're going up against Graveyard. And they still can't get there, Rich.
Get it down.
They cannot.
Not able to make it happen, so Yaki and Yui do it one more time. 2 in a row for the GameWith duo.
Now up 3-2 in games over EDGM, who is making their debut today. We did see GameWith yesterday, and after Roller Perone's performance in the 1v1 set, do you bring out KK in the third and final set?
That's an interesting question. I mean, KK was up and down against Liquid, coming out with the loss opening against Buffmac, and then the win against Diego B. So, you know, it's a hard question. You know, do you want to also preserve his deck pool a little bit at this stage? You don't know, but again, this could be the last match for GameWith.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if Asia's going to make it into the finals. So I think you go all out. I think you do pull out KK in that situation.
That's actually a very, very good point you make, and he did take that final set, if you are talking 2-1 over Diego B, but he was not able to bring it home for CRL Asia. So GameWith really needing to secure their victory right now. They need 2 more to take the 5-point lead over EDGM, who right now is struggling in 2v2.
And sets are also a critical part. It's a whole series of tiered tiebreakers here. So Taking this set is a big, big win. A 3-0 would be even bigger, though, of course, for GameWith at this stage. And then, yeah, I think you got to pull the trigger on KK in the end.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going to talk a lot more about the seed, or not the seeding, but how you get through to that knockout round tomorrow, when a lot of decisions will be made for all these teams, or I guess all the decisions being made to see who goes into that final knockout round on Sunday competing for that first place prize.
Yeah, tomorrow, West versus China, so some big-time matchups coming your way. But at the moment, we are heading into game number 3 of this 2v2, and the Graveyard worked out really, really well. It's 3 of the now 5 games they've played going Graveyard for GameWith.
And you saw EDGM coming out with exactly what we talked about, the Lava Loon, but that snowball was played so effectively throughout by GameWith.
So here we go. A very important game 3. Yaki Yui, top of your screen. And the always frightening cycled snowball.
Yeah, one of the most devastating plays in the game.
Bat cycled as well, so Yaki and Yui just doing a little bit of ordering, getting things the way they want.
Yeah, hanging out. Now behind an Elixir, so we see the Golem coming down. One thing we have not seen a lot of success with is the double Golem, and you love this very aggressive push coming in from Yaki and Yui.
It's insanely aggressive, and look at that. Baby Dragon picks up on the Inferno Drag. The Giant Skeleton in there to help as this Royal Giant does his damage. Dark Prince does survive due to that shield, but that's a big win for Yaki and Yui to open things up. Yeah, you see there not a lot of Elixir needed for that mini P.E.K.K.A to come in and clean everything else up. So very, very nicely played by GameWith. And a lot of times when you see people go or drop a goal and their opponent goes opposite lane to create a lot of pressure. But here's the thing, when you have the Giant Skeleton up front, you want to go same lane to try to clean up all those DPS groups behind the Golem. Yeah, very, very well played. Kind of an anti-instinctual move, but paid off in spades for GameWith, reaching the midway point of regulation, and they have a fairly solid lead on the right-hand side and a lot of answers.
Yeah, so they're opting to not go as aggressive and just play very, very stout defensive. In turn, they've only got to do 1,462 more damage for the next minute and a half, so it should be pretty easy for them to accomplish, whereas the other side, one big Golem push could say goodnight to your team.
Dark Prince making a beeline, not gonna get there. Barb Barrel comes in with the Baby Dragon, does clean it up. Baby Dragon now heading the opposite direction, should get picked up. Giant Snowball still gets one belch though, and that could be a big one as we enter the final minute.
Could have just been played down into one tile to the right to push it back a little bit farther, as opposed just to the right and not backwards. So allowing one belch in, and every hit is counting right now for Solomon and Nuomaisi.
Fireball behind on the support troops, and they're all heading that way towards the Goblin Cage. And now here we go, just trying to keep aggro off that tower as much as they can, or Solomon and Nuomaisi.
You get double Prince coming down, but that first Prince just got eaten alive. 1329 to 1985. Solomon and Nuomaisi showing signs of life.
Inferno Dragon high to meet the Giant Skeleton.
That Inferno Dragon will go down with the bomb.
And here you go, Goblin Cage again to pull, but nice with the Mega Minion, does clean it up, gets enough room for one big Royal Giant shot, and Musketeer does some damage to the opposite side as well.
And now you see that Solomon, or I should say EDGM, the whole team together, they're kind of opting out of playing the Golem, knowing that if they try to build another big push, that is when GameWith can pull the trigger on the very, very aggressive play of the Giant Skeleton Royal Giant at the bridge, and they'll most likely lose a tower. So having to be very, very conservative right now is EDGM.
Yeah, I don't know at what stage they really have a chance to pull a golem down. They have to find some mistake from their opponents, and so far, playing very clean is Yaki and Yui.
Yeah, very well put. It has to be played off of a mistake, because if you commit too much, it's going to be game over. And now they might be feeling the pressure put up. That's when the Golem comes down, because they're recognizing, I am about to get spell cycled out, I need to take the tower.
And mini P.E.K.K.A behind, that's so devastating. Fireball comes in, but the Golem explosion actually pushes a lot of those troops out of the range of the Fireball, so ends up working out very, very well for GameWith in that situation.
And a really, really nice defensive poison coming down from Yaki and Yui.
Final 2 minutes of overtime. EDGM trying to find a way to break through.
Yeah, they do not want to get swept in this moment. Now, they will not have lost the match yet in the sense of game points, but they will be in a very rough position. And an Earthquake coming down as the 16th card for EDGM.
Yeah, you see there's no building opposite
Yeah.
lane, so didn't
Right
really there you go, that's going to be it. So a clean 3 for Yaki and Yui, taking a massive set 2 for GameWith.
So now they only need one game in that third and final set. So do you hold KK so that he does not expose more of his deck pool? That is a very real issue here with so many games being played. It's never a 2 of 3. If you go 2, you still got to play that third game. You are burning through your decks.
Yeah, at this stage though, you have to get to the finals.
This is good.
You have to get there, and I think that with the way that KK has played throughout the season, with the level that he's at, I mean, one of the two, almost not arguably, one of the 2 best players in CRL Asia between him and Benzer.
100%.
I think at this stage, you sell out, you go all in, and you go, look, we'll worry about finals when we get there. We can put together a few more decks then. Let's go and get there right now.
And you talk about this, overseas, being overseas and having so much to deal with at CRL West. When you hear of player names, I mean, Elsiop, everyone knows who Elsiop is. Everyone knows who Mikan Booya is. But when you start hearing rumblings of people like KK, like Benzer, and you start to really wonder, wow, are they really as good as our friends have been telling us? Are they really good as the rumblings on Twitter? And when we got here to China, we heard from all the other casters, yes, it is not hype. It is 100% correct. And you said it yourself, CRL Asia needs to ensure themselves into playoffs.
And they have
finals, excuse me.
I mean, they have a really good shot right now of putting China in a bad spot. Because I'll tell you right now, one other thing is that they would love it to be a West versus Asia final and not have to be finding themselves as which team gets matched up with some of the big squads from China.
It's a very good point. So we'll be right back with that third and final set in just a moment.